Hey guys, it's Heather with MommyPotamus.com. So, a few months ago, I asked you what your biggest challenge is when it comes to healthy living, and there wasn't even a contest. The number one thing you said you were struggling with is getting healthy food on the table. And, as a mom of three who tends to be a little too optimistic when I put together my to do list for the day, I totally get that. So, I wanted to show you one of my secret weapons, and that is real plans. Now, I have tried meal planning services before, and honestly, they didn't really work for me. But I felt obligated to try this one because it was created by my real life friends, Emily and Anthony. Our families get together a couple times a year just to relax and enjoy time together. Emily is an acupuncturist, and she's also the co author of Feed Your Fertility and the founder of Holistic Squid. And she always brings her needles when we get together and helps me get all nice and balanced out, which I love. And Anthony teaches Tai Chi to our whole group, and I always cry during his classes. He has this lovely English accent, which you'll hear if you listen to the videos for Real Plans. And he always says things like, now imagine your children running towards you. Give them a big, tight hug, and then completely release them and let go. And I don't know, I guess it's because I'm a mom and I'm like mom 24/7, but like just that reminder to that my kids are okay, they're like safe, they're with wonderful people, and like I can just take a few minutes to like be present and just be with myself. I don't know why, but it always makes me cry, and he never makes fun of me. And so that's why our families are still friends. But we have gotten way off track here. So I wanted to show you what I love about this. And I'm going to start with the My Diet page. So there are all these different options. There's traditional with dairy, there's traditional without dairy, gluten-free, and then of course there's paleo with or without dairy, a autoimmune protocol, all kinds of variations of a real food diet. And our family is paleo primal with dairy, which you probably have guessed since we live on a homestead and raise dairy goats. But we're kind of paleo light because this mama loves her rice and I also love my potatoes. So what I've done is I'm going into the excluded food groups that are usually excluded for paleo primal, and I'm saying, give me back my rice. I just hit rice, hit this arrow, and it puts it back into my included food groups. I'm taking my potatoes back. Um, Now, I am not a huge fan of beets. There are a couple ways that I will eat them, but it's like one of those things that I'm still kind of working on. But if I wanted to, I could actually just exclude beets as an ingredient. So I hit beets and then select find variants. It'll give me every possible way that beets might surprise me in the meal plan, and I can decide which ones are okay and which ones I don't want. So I can select beets, hit this arrow, and it takes it over to my excluded ingredients. I actually am trying to learn to love beets, so I'm going to put it back. But this is perfect for people who are avoiding things due to food sensitivities or allergies or just plain old preference because their kid doesn't like one particular ingredient and they just want to leave it out of the rotation for a while. It is really, really handy. And then I also make sure that Northern Hemisphere is selected because what that means is that Real Plans is going to deliver recipes that are seasonally available, which is perfect for me because I'm doing a lot of my shopping, not my sharping, at the farmer's market. So I'm just going to select update, and all my preferences have been saved, or at least they will be in just a second. And we're going to head over to my schedule. So every Friday, which is the day before the farmer's market opens, I create a meal plan for the next week. That way we can shop on Saturday and then start the week's meals on Sunday with the freshest ingredients possible. If you were using this and you shopped on a different day or CSA delivered on a different day, you could select a different day of the week to start. Now, most of our days in the mornings are just stay-at-home homeschool days, so I don't usually plan meals for then. We eat leftovers, or I just make a quick breakfast from the eggs that the kids bring in from the barn. But I do like to have something special on the weekends, so I've planned a full breakfast for Monday. Most of my lunches throughout the week are quickie meals, so they're ready in 30 minutes or less. And then for dinner, I usually opt for wild card or quickie meals, so that's short to average cook times. But I do also we have a Friday night fun night, which is junk food, real foodified. And if you wanted to, you could do something more elaborate, like a big cook day. Those are more elaborate meals, soup and salad, or even a make ahead meal. Now, for me, on Wednesday, I typically do recipe testing for Mommy Potamus. So I'm grazing during that part of the day on whatever I'm working on. And then when it's all said and done, I usually have at least a couple of entrees ready to go. So we eat leftovers on Wednesday night and Thursday night. And so I take those off. However, if there's a day where I'm not, or a week where I'm not doing recipe testing, I could just add those back in really easily. And so I have saved my schedule for the week. Now let's head over to the meal planner and see what Real Plans to put together for me. All right, this looks good. So we have dill coconut flour crepes with smoked salmon and goat cheese. I love that because we have a great season right now with lots of goat milk, so goat cheese is definitely happening in our house. And then we have some different things. We've got a salmon sushi bowl, paleo chicken fingers. That looks good. Ooh, cassava oven fries. Beef tongue. I'm not really sure I'm ready for that yet. So what I can do here is select this little circle, and then I can select it within Tuesday, which is the day, and I'm going to say I want to replace what I've got. Ooh, meatballs. These look good. Um, so what I could do here, and I kind of want to, is I'm going to press, yeah, I am going to. I'm going to press thumbs up for that because that looks really good. And then for the salmon sushi bowl, I want something more substantive. I really like to eat kind of a big meal on Sunday. So that looks good. Ooh, a beef burgundy stew. I'm going to say no just so you can see what happens. This is recipe roulette. It'll just pop up different options until you come across something that looks good to you. This quiche looks good. So I'm going to go ahead and go with that. And I'm going to select replace. Now we'll be having breakfast for dinner that night. It'll be like a quiche, which sounds really good to me. Okay, so now I'm going to show you one of my favorite parts. Now, one of the things for me is that anywhere I can eliminate mental bandwidth, stuff that's taking up my mental bandwidth, I do. And that's one thing I really love about this. Instead of trying to think ahead for every meal of like what I need to be doing and when, I have this timeline that basically tells me when I need to start chicken stock for a recipe that's coming up, when I need to take meat out. And Anthony has actually told me that he is working on integrating this with phones so that my phone can remind me when it's time to do something, which I love. That's really exciting. But for now, I can just print it out, put it on my fridge, and it helps me stay on track. And my husband and I sometimes trade off duties. So sometimes I'm in the barn and I'm helping out, like I'm the goat lactation consultant around here. And so there are times when like I can be out doing something and he can just like see what needs to happen and just do it because he's amazing. And I love that. And then I'm going to head over to the shopping list. So one of the things I love about the shopping list is that it's categorized by where things are found in the store. So all the produce is together, all the flowers are together, the eggs and dairy is together, and that just makes life so much easier for me. And another thing I can do is I can take all the ingredients I already know I have in my pantry, like cayenne pepper, chili powder, sea salt, cumin, mustard, all these things. And I can tell Real Plans that I've got it, so it won't show up on my shopping list. So I'm going to select these. And then if I hit refresh, you'll see that a little got it page is popped up here. There it is. So they're on the list, but Real Plans knows I already have them. And when I show up to shop, I can just pull up this list on my phone. And as I click, like I can just touch and make an ingredient disappear once I've picked it up in the store, which just is amazing. I just love it. It makes things so much easier for me. And then I wanted to show you one last thing that I always use, and that is the recipe box. I don't like having just random options pop up for me. I want to have some control over what my family's eating every week because we have favorite meals that we want to have pretty often, and there's stuff that I find on Pinterest that I want to try, and so I want to be able to integrate those into my meal plan, and I do that with the recipe box. So these are some recipes from blogs that I love or some of my own recipes that I love. And what I've done is I imported them and I gave them 5 stars. So they sit right up here at the top so that they're available to me. And the importing process is so easy. So you can go grab anything. Like this is a paleo bread exclusive recipe from my good friend Carol. She just released, oops, sorry about that. She just released a cookbook called Ditch the Wheat, and it's amazing. And I'm going to import this recipe into my recipe box because I make it all the time. In fact, I always make a double batch because I like to freeze it and have it on hand for just busy days. So it's just going to let me pick a photo, select that, and then I'm going to crop it. Oops. Here we go. And then it's showing me all the ingredients, it's pulled them in, and also the instructions. So I'm just going to double check and see that everything looks good, and it does. I'm going to give it 5 stars, so it's sitting there right at the top of my recipe box, and I'm going to hit save. And it's going to confirm all of the ingredients. And here it is in my recipe box. Now, I love to bake on Sunday afternoons, so what I'm going to do is just add this to my Sunday lunch schedule because I want to bake on that day. And now I'm going to go to my meal planner and also, so there it is. I'm going to add something else for that time. So I'm select this little circle. It gives me the option to edit this particular time slot. And I want to make cookies since I'm already going to be in there baking. So let's see what it'll pull up. Ooh, those look good. But I'm just going to see what else there is. Oh, hey, that looks familiar. That's a guest post that was shared on my blog, and it's really good. So I'm going to go ahead and say yes to that one. So you can sort of bulk, add things if you want to. So if you want a baking afternoon, great. Or if you want to add a side salad here, or you're interested in, a dessert on a particular night, it's really easy to add. And I have found that really great because even at the last minute, I can just kind of pull stuff up, and it always stirs up my creativity. Even if I decide to go with something that, is just based on the ingredients that we have, I can search by the ingredients that we have in the house and see if I can find something. And that is really fun. So this is how I use Real Plans. I hope you found this little tour helpful. And if you have any questions about it, please leave them in the comments below.